Hello all, welcome to my channel DevOps Mela and welcome to my new tutorial video on Terraform scenario based interview question with practical solution. So this is part 2 guys. I already have part 1. Please go and check the interview playlist. Not just on Terraform, I got questionnaires on Docker, Azure DevOps, Git, many. Okay. Now the principle is same guys. So you need to go through the questions, think of possible answer, then match those answers with my practical solution answer. Okay, so let's get started without wasting much time. Let's get started and let's see what do we have in the bucket. Now let's see. So this is scenario 6. I already have till scenario 5. I already have questions in my interview playlist. Please go and look into it. Now the question over here is, Azure storage account was previously created manually. Now the resource needs to be brought under Terraform to manage and maintain. How do we achieve the same? Now the question is very simple, very straightforward. There is a resource which was created before manually. Now you want to bring that resource under Terraform management. Okay, in that case I have given a name as Azure storage account. This is the resource. So what I'll do first, I'll go to my Azure cloud. This is my Azure cloud. I don't have any resource right now, so let's go and create a storage account. Basically, let's go and create a storage account quickly. So this is something I'm doing it manually. Later I'll be managing the same resource using Terraform. So my resource group name DevOps Mela RG. Let's give a storage name DevOps Mela SA. I'll stick with East US. Performance standard, redundancy, I'll stick with LRS. Okay. Review and create once the review validation is done. Okay, so what could be the possible answer while this is getting created? What could be the possible answer? Let's go and see it on the PPT. So the possible solution is Terraform import. So what exactly is import? Terraform import supports bringing your existing infrastructure under Terraform management by importing the resource into the Terraform. So this is the possible solution for importing existing infrastructure under Terraform management. Now what will be the workflow you need to follow? The first is go and analyze the resource, whatever resource you want to import. You need to write matching config file. Okay, you need to write the matching config file. Once you have written that, you can run the command Terraform import. Command to import first the resource group, then the storage account. This is the same workflow you need to follow for other resources also, guys. The syntax for Terraform import is Terraform import. You need to have a Terraform block labels and resource ID. This is what the command syntax is. Let's go and see if my storage account is created. Perfect. So let's go and analyze your storage account. So this is your storage account. It got your resource group over here. The performance is standard. The replication type is LRS. The location is East US. Okay, so this is what you need to take care. So you need to have, when you're writing a Terraform config, you need to have a resource group created and you need to have a storage account created with all those properties. Now how do you create so this is, I have done my analysis. The first step is done. The first part is done. The second is you need to write the exact similar Terraform config file. Now I'll have to go back to my Visual Studio. I'll be using Visual Studio Code for writing this. I have a separate folder AZ storage account. In this I'll go and create storage.tf. So this is how a storage account, a Terraform file is created. Now in this I'll start adding all the required information to match my current storage account infrastructure. How do I do it? I'll not write everything from scratch, guys. I'll make use of Terraform documentation. I'll suggest everyone to use Terraform documentation when you're writing Terraform configuration. It's a very easy configuration. but still I want you to follow the official website to write any sort of configuration. Let's wait while the website is coming up. Okay guys, we are on the Terraform official registry website. So it's registry.terraform.io. In this, I'll go to the provider section. So we are looking for Azure as a provider. The first thing I'll take it from here is the provider information. So the Terraform block, I'll copy and paste the exact thing in my config file. Okay, the only thing I'll change is I'll have a feature block added over here. Done. The next part is I need storage account information. So I just look for Azure storage. Account. So this is the one which I'm looking for. Now you got the exact code. I'll just need these codes to be copy pasted. So what all things is required? So if I come down, so wherever you see this required tag, these are the information is required. Rest all the optional things you can leave it. Just copy and paste all the required tags. Okay. So I'll go at the top. I'll just have this information, and I'll paste it over here. Okay. Now I'll try to match this configuration with my existing infra. So first of all, the name of my resource group is DevOps Mela RG. I'll copy this name, come to my this is the naming I have to change. I'll make this also the same name. You can use whatever name you want. That's a local reference name. Location, I'll stick with East US. That is the location we have. Now resource group name. So I'll just change this example over here, and the location also I'll change it. Now what is the name of your storage account? The name of my storage account is basically DevOps Mela SA. I'll change this name, and also I'll keep this name as same for now. Standard is okay. Account replication is LRS. Tags, we have not given any tags, so there's no tags. So basically I'll take out this tags thing. Not required for now. Later you can add it. Now we have the configuration ready, exactly the same we want. So this is matching, currently it is matching the infrastructure which we had created manually. Okay, second part done. The third is we need to go and run Terraform import command. So this is the syntax which I have given, and you'll find the same syntax if you scroll down at the very bottom on this page to see this command, Terraform import, and this is what it is needed. Okay, now what I'll do, I'll just go and run this command Terraform import. I'll go to my Visual Studio itself. I'll open a terminal from top. I'll open new terminal. All my Terraform settings, easy login, all this is all done, guys. If you don't know how do you connect to your portal using Terraform, then please look into my previous videos. Okay. Now let's wait while the terminal is coming up. I'm just waiting for the terminal to come up. Yes, here we go. Where are we right now? So let's go to the folder az_storage. cd az_storage. Perfect. Okay, so we have the storage.tf file over here. The first thing I need to do is go and do Terraform init, okay, to download the provider, the required provider. So I'll just go and run the command Terraform init. So it will go and download the provider for me. And the second thing is we need to go and run the Terraform import command based on the syntax what we have. So let's wait while this init is happening. Okay guys, so the initialization was done successfully. You can see the Terraform provider was downloaded. Now we'll run the import command. So the syntax is Terraform import followed by the block label, that is this part, dot, I'm importing the resource group first. Resource group name followed by the resource ID. How do you get the resource ID? Go back to your portal, go back to your resource group, and over here if you go to properties, in the properties do you see the resource ID? Copy the resource ID and put it over here. That's it. 3 steps done. Let's try and import. Now when you try to import, what will happen? A state file gets created, okay, and it will try to import your existing infrastructure under Terraform management. Let's wait while the import is happening. Okay guys, so the resource group was successfully imported. Now if you see this, import successful, and this is a TF state file. Under this TF state file you can see your resource group. Okay, let's go to the second part quickly, wherein Terraform import, I'll be importing the storage account now. Okay, coming back, this is your block labels, and let's go and get the resource ID for your storage account. Okay, the resource ID is somewhere. Okay, do one thing, open this JSON view, and in the JSON view also you'll get the resource ID at the very top. Just copy this. Even that is exactly the same. Let's go and import the storage account now. Let's wait and watch. Okay guys, even this import was successful right over here. Now if I go to the Terraform state file, now there are 2 resources. One is the resource group, the second is the storage account. So we have the exact TF state file created, okay, and if you see the mode, it is showing managed. How do we test it? Now what I can do, I can quickly go and run Terraform plan and see if any changes, if there's anything getting created or deleted. Okay, hopefully it should not. Terraform spelling mistake. Now let's see, by running the plan, if there's anything to be added, anything is getting deleted, this plan will give you that idea. Let's wait while the plan is getting executed. Okay guys, no changes. So after running the plan, no changes in infrastructure matches the configuration. So this is how you will be migrating your existing infrastructure which was created prior manually to under Terraform management. Now for all other resources, it's a similar flow what you need to follow. Analyze the resource, write a Terraform config, do a Terraform init, then run a Terraform import. Okay, now let's move on to the next scenario. Very interesting. There is a resource called Azure App Service, was created and managed by Terraform, but someone added few tags or made some minor changes manually on the portal. What will happen in such case? How will Terraform will react in such cases? Now imagine a scenario where there is a Terraform managed resource which was earlier created using Terraform. Later, from someone from the system admin team or cloud admin team added few tags or made some amendments to that particular resource. So what will happen when you run the Terraform plan or apply command later? How will Terraform react to such change? Okay, think of it before I give you the solution. I don't have this app service created, but I do have a config written already. So what I'll do, I'll go and run this and I'll create an app service first. Okay. Okay, all, I have my resource created. So I was creating an app service using my config file. Now if I go to the portal, I have the resource created. Now let's go back to the PPT and talk about the scenario again. So this is all about, there is a managed resource and someone added few tags or made some minor changes manually, then how will my Terraform react? So let's see the answer. In the above case, Terraform will try and delete the tags or minor changes created manually. So basically, Terraform will do update in place and it will try to remove those things. If you see this, these tags are getting removed over here. Now let's see it in practical and see how do we handle such things. Now let me do one thing. Let me go to the app service basically and let me add a tag. Let's go and create a tag manually. Let's name it as cost center. Name it as development. Save it. Now this is a Terraform managed service. Now onto this managed service, what I did, I have added a tag manually. Now if I go and run the command plan again, Terraform plan, let's see what happens. Let's see what exactly Terraform will do in such case. Okay guys, as I said, update in place is happening right now after running the plan. So basically it will go and delete your tag. Okay, if I go and run the apply, it will go and remove whatever changes were made manually. Now if you want these changes to be in place, so what you need to do, you need to go and add the same inside the configuration file. Now how do I do it? Let's minimize this terminal for now. Okay. So the tag is added basically where? At the web app. Okay. So we can go, this is the web app. I can go and add a tags over here. So tags, it's basically key value pair. So it's cost center, correct? And what is the value? Development. Okay, make sure about the caps, don't put it upper or lower, it may differ. Now, if I simply do Terraform plan again, let's see if anything happens. So Terraform plan will basically what it will do, it will refresh your state first. So your local state and your desired state will get refreshed. And when both will start matching, it will not do anything basically. So let's see. Okay guys, if you see, after running the Terraform plan, after adding the tag to the config, we are getting a message, no changes. Okay, so basically what has exactly happened, your state file got updated and your state file has those tags now. So where exactly the state file is? The state file is not on local. The state file is there on my cloud inside my storage account. So I'm using a backend basically. So we have the state file right over here. In the tf state, .terraform.state. Now if you go to the state file, and if you go to the web app section, you will basically look for the tag. There's so many things. Let me do a control F and tag. Only one tag, it's showing null over here. So the tag is not reflecting. How do I make sure that the tag is reflecting over here? So for doing that, you just need to do one simple command. Terraform refresh. So Terraform refresh will match your state files guys. So even your state file will be updated after running this Terraform refresh command. It will match your current state and the desired state. And it will update your state file accordingly. Let's wait while the state file is getting updated. Okay guys, the refresh is done. Now let's go and look into my state file if the state file is updated. Okay, here we go. We have the tag cost center development. Okay, so that's it from this question. How Terraform will react? So Terraform will try to delete it. If you want those things to be part of your config, then you need to add it to your configuration. Then try and do a Terraform refresh Once you do a refresh, your state file will get updated. Let's move on to the next question. Now the question is, recently migrated state file to Azure storage blob. Now basically what we are saying, we have a backend storage wherein we have backend location which is there created on Azure storage. So my state file is stored in my backend. Now post Terraform configuration change, I don't see any TF state backup file getting created locally or remotely. Very interesting. The question is, I have migrated from my local to my cloud storage wherein I'm storing my state file now, but now post that if I'm making any configuration change, I don't see any backup file getting created, which used to happen previously. Now guys, try and understand this. This TF state backup file gets created when the state files are stored locally. So this is the behavior of Terraform. When you're storing your state file locally, it's create a backup version. Whenever there's a change in your state file, it's create a backup version, one backup version for you. So like suppose you have updated something, so -1 version will be stored in the TF state -backup file. Now that backup file is basically used to, if you want to go back to the previous state, then you can use the backup file. But when you start storing things into your backend, that is on cloud, this TF state backup concept is not there. Now in such cases, what you have to do, you have to, to store the backup files while storing Azure blob, you need to enable versioning. So you need to enable versioning, and which will make sure that the different versions of TF state file is getting created whenever you make any amendments to your configuration. How do you, so in my case, I'm using a backend as Azure storage. So let me show you the config first. So I'll take an example of same app service basically. So if you go and see my app service, I do have a backend block over here. So my state file is getting stored in my storage account. So this is something I've already seen it in my previous question. So I have my state file over here. Now if you see the state file, there's no version or backup, anything as such getting created over here. So what we need to do, and if you go to your version section, there's no version and anything getting created. Now there's no backup, no version. How do I make sure there is a proper backup created whenever we are making changes to your Terraform configuration? Because state file is very important. So in Azure, what you need to do, so that's not a feature of Terraform, that's a storage account feature, which you can do one thing, you can go and enable versioning. So that comes under data management, under data protection. In data protection, there is an option called tracking. Under tracking, there's an option called enable versioning. Now what will happen? It will start creating different versions as soon as you start making changes to your Terraform config. Okay, how will I test this? So I can do one thing, I can add one more tag, environment, for example, dev. Okay, so this is a new tag which I've added. So I'll try and make changes to my config. I'll run a apply directly. With an auto approve flag. So what exactly I'm doing, I'm making changes to my state file. I made some changes to my config and I made changes to my state file. Now this state file will go and get updated. What I am looking for now, that I should have a version of my state file created whenever there is a new change. So let's wait and see if the new version is getting created. And about the backup, guys, this is my scenario 6 question. So this is basically, if you see this is how the backup file looks like. So in my scenario 6, I was creating my resources locally, and I was I was not storing my state file in any backend, cloud backend. I was storing my state file locally. This is my state file, and this is how the backend looks like. Just for example, this is how the backend looks like. This was a previous one when we created the resource group when we were importing, and this is the latest one when we have imported the storage account also. Just an FYI. Okay, let's go back and see this. Is it done? It's still happening. It's adding this environment. Okay, let's wait while the changes are happening. Okay guys, so my apply was successful. Let's go and see if we have the updated state file. Let me refresh this portal. Okay, if I go inside this state file, and if I click on versions now, you see the versions got created. As soon as we made the changes, we have the versions created. Now I can switch to any version any given point of time. Okay, I can delete any version. If I want to make this as my current version, I can do it. This is all a feature of storage account, not Terraform. So this is how you will be taking backups of your state file when you are storing your state file to some cloud backend. Okay, so that is what the question was all about. So how do you take backup of your state files? So storage account, data management, tracking, enable, versioning. Let's go to the next question. Now this is the question. Assume Terraform configuration files are deleted and I am just left with an updated state file. How do we recover the configuration using TF state file if it's possible? Very interesting guys. Let's go back to Visual Studio. Just imagine, I'll take an example of this storage account. Just imagine I have this storage.tf config got deleted somehow. So this is the question I got in my comment section. Now the first thing is it should not be deleted guys. You should have proper, make use of Git repository, have proper versions created of your configuration. But let's assume that it got deleted. Now how do I go and get this thing up again? Now in that case there are multiple ways. First, analyze your state file. So basically you go through your state file, look into your state file, see what all resources are created, what are the names. Okay, along with it, go and recreate the configuration file from scratch. One way. Second way, follow the Terraform import workflow. So scenario 6, wherein we have imported the resources, consider that resource as a manual resource. Suppose imagine it was created manually. Delete your state file and follow this Terraform import workflow and rewrite everything from scratch. So this is, and bring it under Terraform management. The best way is analyze the state file, rewrite the configuration accordingly. So whichever you want to follow, but make sure you should not fall for such Terraform configuration file getting deleted. Always, whenever you're writing any configuration, make sure you're making use of Git repository, a repository management tool for creating multiple versions of your config files and storing your config files in a remote repository. That is what recommended. Okay, let's move on to the next question. What is Terraform Workspace and how it is beneficial in day out jobs? Very interesting. So workspace in Terraform are simply independently managed state files. A workspace contains everything that Terraform needs to manage, given a collection of infrastructure and separate workspace function like separate working directory for you. So in a very short, in a simple term, when there is a workspace, it's like creating multiple partitions for your state file. Now this is the diagram which I took from medium.com from Ashish Patil. It's very well defined. The diagram explains we are the Terraform developers. We have written this Terraform configuration. We have different set of configuration. Now what's happening in my current state? If I go and run this configuration, everything gets created in my default namespace, in my default workspace, not namespace, and I'll have a state file, standard state file created. Now my requirement is I need to use the same configuration into different environment. I have a dev environment, I'll have a stage environment, and I'll have a production environment. So all these environments will have its specific state files, correct? I want a specific state file for all these environments, but I don't want to make any amendments or changes inside my config. So in such cases, always use workspace, where workspace will give you a separate dedicated partition. That partition will have its own state file, and by using the same config and a different state file, you can manage and create your environment. How exactly this works? Let's go back to your command line. Now if you do simply Terraform Workspace help, then you get all the list of command what your workspace supports. Now currently I am into a default workspace. Now if you want to list, so there is a command called list. This list, what it basically will do, it will show you all your workspaces. So I am into default workspace, as I said. Now if you want to create a new workspace, for example for development, as per the diagram which I showed you just now, it is Terraform Workspace, new, and then development, for example. Okay, there's a typo, guys. So what will happen? A development workspace will be created. Let's wait while it is getting created. Okay, now if you see, created and switched. So I am into development workspace. Like if I do a list, you can see I am into development workspace. See, now what will happen over here? Now if I go and make any changes to, if I run this command again, if I make any changes, I'll have a dedicated TF state file created for my development workspace. Same thing goes if I have a production, I'll have a dedicated TF file created for my production. So this way, using the same config, you will have a dedicated space for different set of environments. So this is what workspace provides. Workspace in Terraform are simply independently managed state files. Okay guys, that's it for from this Terraform scenario based interview question. Please do support by putting whatever questions you get during your interview in my comment box, and I'll definitely try to get more such videos created for you guys. Okay, if you like, please like, share and subscribe to my channel, and please don't forget to put in comments about your suggestion, about your feedback. I always go through each and every comments, and whenever it's possible I reply to those comments as well. Thank you very much. Goodbye.